How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, which was up 2.44% on the day. It also did see a pre-market high of $19.29. Of course, as we got closer to the open, it started shaving off some gains, but it did hold up fairly well during regular hours. So I know many of you are going to be asking me that question. What do you see this stock doing as far as going into tomorrow? Maybe you're catching this video the day of, especially since Facebook ended up knocking it out the park with their earnings and the market had a pretty great reaction to it. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $18.07, being up 2.44%. On the low, it tested $17.99, and then on the high, testing $18.70. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 28.798 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 23.1 million shares. So you can see we had above average volume on the day, and we did have some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 32.38. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 100-day, the 200-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And it's clear to see that Lucid is trading below all of our major moving averages, which puts it in a bear market. But since we did have a recent news catalyst, we were able to post up a green day. So we ended up seeing a high at $18.70. So going into tomorrow, I just saw Facebook release earnings and it ended up impressing. I'd want to see if we could actually make a move going to at least $19. If we can go to 19 and we have some buying pressure coming in, that's where we're going to be testing that resistance area that we have at $20. Just remember, the high that we got when we got back to that $20 range is at $20.01. So we're going to be looking for a break above this level, and then essentially you'd want to see it get to the 21-day EMA, which is at $21.30. So if we end up having weakness in the market tomorrow, or we end up having a pullback, I want to see $18 continuing to hold. We did close at $18.07. So that is one thing to be aware of, because we break through 18, we'll go back to visiting back into the 17s, and possibly if we have more weakness, we might see Lucid getting to around the $16 range, which is around $16.10, where we'd like to see support actually hold up. But for the most part, things are looking good going into tomorrow. So let's see if Lucid can make that move going to $19. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions and red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for the 27th, we have Sumitomo Mitsui Trust Holdings that close out their position. We also have Campaign Lombard Odier that close out their position, and we also have Centerpoint Advisors LLC that close out their positions as well. And now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 68.04%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 8.6 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 0, and then taking a look at the short borrow-free rate is at 2.73%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 25th, it is at 57.63, and then for the close of the 26th being at 68.04. So that is quite the increase right there. And if we take into consideration the short interest percentage of the float being at 19.57%, Lucid does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see here on the inflow, it is at 73.87, and then on the outflow, it's at 92.68. So we ended up having an outflow day. Taking a look at the break breakdown, on the large it was 0, on the medium it was 39.41, and then on the small it was 34.46. Taking a look at the outflow side, we can see on the large it was 4.27, on the medium it was 54.60, and then on the small it was 33.81. Also keep in mind these numbers are in the millions. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today, April the 27th, we had an outflow of negative 4.27 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had a lot more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 1.75%. So again, this is a consistent range for Lucid. Remember, in the previous video, it was around 2. So we want to continue to keep an eye on this, and considering all the volatility we had inside of these markets before the market closed, I must say it held up fairly well. It was able to pull off a green day. I know many people had bigger expectations due to the news catalyst, but hey, we got to take what we get. So let's go into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, when it comes to the price action, like I said earlier in the video, Facebook came out with their earnings and the market was very impressed. So what we want to see is strength coming into the tech sector. And if we get that, we want to see Lucid making a move going to $19. It was able to have $18 as a support area, but again, we want to see that strength. If we really do have demand for this stock inside of the markets, then it should be able to get to $19, especially if we have a strong green day. And we know already, as far as resistance, it's right at $20. The last time it got to this point, the high was at $20.01. So that's a level that you're going to want to keep an eye on. And of course, you want to see if it can move up further. Also, as far as for the bearish case scenario, I know there's some bears out here who watch my channel and so forth. If you're looking for a move to the downside, you want $18 to break. And then upon breaking, you want to see if it gets down to $17.60. And below $17.60 is where you could see a lot of weakness. The next support area after that is around $16.10. So again, add that to your homework. Now you guys know what it looks like to the upside and as well as for the downside. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we can see that there's a good amount of closed positions. Not too surprising. We already know, we knew from a while back, since these filings are delayed, we're going to be in an environment where they're going to be dealing with interest rate hikes, and it's going to be difficult for growth stocks like Lucid. So that's why I'm not too surprised that we have institutions who are trimming out their positions. And then when we take a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. There's a lot of shorts who are vested in this play. That's why I wasn't surprised that we had a sell-off inside of the pre-market. We also have to understand, since we are in a bear market, the moment we have spikes in stocks, there's going to be a lot of people taking profits, or many just wanted to get out of their positions. So that's why I was saying, overall on the day, us finishing green is an accomplishment. But what we want to see is what this stock can do tomorrow, especially when we have stronger market conditions. We also can't forget the fact that we have a Fed meeting as well as for next week. So the volatility is going to continue. And if you are a long-term investor, again, use dollar cost averaging and make sure you do your homework and you do your due diligence before you get into this play. So I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.